Good morning. Today I will be presenting Sherman Alexie's nonfiction essay Superman and Me. This essay was originally published in 1998. What makes this work so personal is that it's a memoir in which Alexie reconnects with how he learned to read at the age of 3, with the assistance of a Superman comic book. The essay highlights significance because it combines autobiography, cultural criticism, and a reflection on the power of literacy. Alexei was raised on the Spokane Indian Reservation, where numerous Native children struggled in school and were often underestimated and belittled by society. In the essay, he describes his connection with reading and says how it becomes more than a skill for him. It was a tragedy to overcome generalized stereotypes and build his identity. He also mentions that his father adored books and helped create a home where reading was always present, which played a great role in shaping his development. What makes this essay hold so much power that is not only about getting the hang of reading, it's about how the skill of reading assisted in building confidence, independence, and the ability to challenge stereotypes. Alexi's final message is that literacy can be a form of survival, and that is what makes this text so meaningful for analysis. To analyze Superman and Me, I will first review the literary theories, then take a look at the literary devices. From a formalist's point of view, Alexi's essay is effective due to how it's structured. His use of repetition and parallelism to create rhythm, returning again and again to reading books and his childhood experiences. This repetition gives the essay momentum and emotional weight. From a Marxist's point of view, the essay is about the themes of inequality and power. Alexei was brought up in an environment that had expectations for young Native children to fail, showing how race, class, and institutional expectations shape opportunity. Learning how to read is an act of conquering and resistance against a limited system. From a psychoanalytic perspective, the essay focuses on identity formation. Alexei does not just simply learn the skill of reading, but he builds a stronger character of self through reading. The transformation from children to writer is about psychological growth, not just skill. With the usage of repetition, deliberately returning to phrases like I read books into the night, this strongly highlights his commitment to reading. Alexei uses imaginary describing books. Alexei uses imagery describing books as crazy pals through the house. The reasoning behind this is to make literacy to feel overwhelming and physically accurate. The author uses symbolism in a powerful manner. The Superman comic presents the theme of power and transformation, showing how one can break through societal barriers. These books symbolize freedom, knowledge, and self determination. Anecdotes have been used throughout the work to reflect how his personal stories about learning to read and assisting other Native children, the tone shifts between confident, hopeful, and bitter. This bonds to create emotional complexity. All these devices support Alexei's deeper meaning that literacy is not only about education, but is also a factor of in survival, self-definition, and freedom. The poetic devices and thematic connections in Superman and Me portray how nonfiction prose functions similarly to poetry. The way Alexis recruits literary techniques like Maya Angelou's Still I Rise and Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream that promotes the themes of resilience, identity, and liberation. First repetition. Alexei keeps repeating the phrase, I read books late into the night. This creates rhythm and shows determination. This can be compared to Angelou's Still I Rise when she repeats, I rise. This was used to show resilience towards oppression exerted on African Americans. Comparing both these authors and their usage of repetition to create momentum and emotional effects. In King's I Have a Dream, similarly, he keeps repeating I have a dream to construct rhythmic and powerful speech inspiring social change. Second, symbolism. The Superman comic shows symbolism to power transformation and breaking through social barriers. Just as oil wells, gold mines, and diamonds are forms of symbolism to depict resilience and inner worth, and Still I Rise. Both examples of these texts use representation of powerful symbols to show how marginalized people hold values and strength. King also uses symbolism in his speech. The dream is a symbol of equality and justice. The sunlit path of racial justice is to represent hope and progress. Third, imagery. Alexei illustrates how books are being stacked in crazy piles in bathrooms, bedrooms, and living rooms, helping to create a vivid picture stimulating the reader's imagination. This can also be compared to imagery in Still I Rise, where Angelou uses a specific type of imagery such as visual and tactile to convey oppression, resistance, and opposition. King uses vivid imagery of freedom and equality in I Have a Dream. Finally, the themes of resilience, identity, and overcoming oppression connect Angelou's Still I Rise and this essay. Similarly, the themes of hope, equality, and the power of vision connect King's speech with Alexei's essay. All three texts prove that marginalized people can overcome the societal pressure and claim dignity and work through personal strength. These poetic devices and themes demonstrate how nonfiction and poetry explore similar topics through similar techniques. I found thematic connections between Superman and Me and various short stories. In Grimm's Cinderella, there is a strong structural connection with Alexei's essay. Both narratives came from marginalized background and transformed. In Cinderella, the transformation came through a magical intervention, while in Alexei's case, through education. Both begin with oppression and end with success. The distinction between magical power and self made effort and literacy shows that education is more powerful than fate. In W.D. Walderson's A Matter of Balance, there's a connection that relates past experiences and the present identity. In the story, Harold's childhood trauma influences his moral decisions later in life. Similarly, Alexei's childhood experiences of being expected to fail shaped his adult response to help other Native children. The difference between the two works is that Harold's experience led to fear, while Alexei's past drove him to empowerment and resistance. In the same context, A Child's Christmas in Wales by Dylan Thomas shares a connection through memory, childhood, and nostalgia. Both pieces are memoir style narratives on childhood experiences from adults' perspective. Thomas looks back on his childhood with nostalgia and wonder, while Alexei with pride and determination. Both works use imagery and anecdotes to engage the readers emotionally. The difference lies in the tone. Thomas gives an image of joy and warmth, whereas Alexei mixes triumph and social criticism. Superman and Me connects strongly to Timothy Finley's The War through shared themes of identity, isolation, oppression, loss of innocence, and survival. In the wars, Robert struggles to define himself as a moral individual. Likewise, Alexei struggles to define himself as an intelligent child in a society expecting him to fail. Both characters experience external forces threatening their identities, war and violence in Finley's novel, and educational exclusions in Alexei's essay. Both texts explore isolation. Robert is isolated by moral values and war trauma. Alexei is isolated as one of the native children refusing to accept low expectations. Each experiences loss of innocence. Ross witnesses war brutality, while Alexei realizes that society's expectations for native children to be stupid. Both characters explore survival. Ross survives through moral choices and compassion, and Alexei survives through books and education. However, outcomes differ. Finley represents survival as morally complicated, but Alexei presents survival as achievable. These connections demonstrate how literature explores maintaining dignity and preserving identity under hostile conditions. In conclusion, Sherman Alexie's Superman and Me is a powerful nonfiction essay that can be analyzed through formalist, Marxist, and psychoanalytic lenses. Alexei employs literary devices including repetition, imagery, and symbolism, anecdote, and tone to transform a personal memoir into a statement about the power of reading. The essay shares poetic devices and themes with Maya Angelou's Still I Rise and Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. particularly resilience, identity, and freedom. It also connects to short stories like Cinderella and A Matter of Balance through themes of transformation and past experiences, and the worst through themes of identity, isolation, and survival. Ultimately, Alexei argues that reading is not simply a skill, it is a way of claiming identity, dignity, and opportunities. As he states, I am trying to save our lives. Thank you.